Hi guys, we're back in the garage today doing episode 2 of Tire Fight. Tire Fight is a series I have on my channel where I compare two very like tires for 15 hours, and I kind of give them a summary and a score and pick a winner. So for episode 1, we did a set of gummy tires, an IRC and a Shinko tire, and yeah, that was a really cool episode. A lot of good feedback from that episode. For episode 2, which is today, we're going to do two what I consider Moto tires, so not gummy tires, but still really good tires. Today we are going to compare a Michelin Starcross 5 Soft, okay, with a little over 10 hours. We're going to compare that to an IRC VX30, which also has a little over 10 hours, and yeah, I put all these hours on both these tires. I put all the hours on my 250, actually, excuse me, now 300 SX, which is awesome. And I want to give you guys my thoughts. Once again, I'm just a regular recreational rider, 42 years old. We are in a real garage here, and I am not sponsored by any tire manufacturer, and I'm just trying to share some good information here. Before we jump into the Tire Fight episode, I want to give a shout out to the company I just started, which is called 2-stroke, 4-stroke Moto, and I'm going to put a link here down below. Check us out. We make these rapid chain adjustment tools, and we also make some very cool torque decals for KTM and for Yamaha. So I'll put a link in the description below. Check us out and give us some feedback. So here we go with episode 2. Enjoy. Let's talk about the process of Tire Fight. First, I purchase the tires. I buy these tires at retail price, usually from Rocky Mountain. My goal is to pick two tires that are head-to-head competitors. If I'm going to evaluate MX tires, I pick two MX tires. If it's Enduro tires, I pick two Enduro tires. And if they're gummy tires, well, they both have to be gummy tires. I'm trying to compare apples to apples here. I don't work for any tire manufacturer, and I'm certainly not sponsored. First thing I do is I mount each tire to different wheel assemblies. That way I can swap back and forth between wheel assemblies if I want to do a back-to-back comparison, whether it's on the trail or here on my tracks. Next, I ride. I ride local trails that have a relative diversity of terrain. Keep in mind, I live in Central Oregon, so it may be hard to find deep mud here. Here at home, I have a couple practice areas where I can really explore the technical possibilities of the tire. I have rocks, I have Enduro cross type obstacles, and trails type obstacles. Here it's first and second gear only, with technical obstacles. My turn track isn't fancy, but it helps me evaluate high-speed turns, rutted turns, and turns at harsh angles. I ride each tire a minimum of 15 hours, and I don't necessarily have a structured approach for what I ride and when I ride, but I do put 15 hours on each tire. Once I feel like I have a good understanding of each tire, I do an evaluation. The evaluation is broken up into two categories. First, I rate each tire and how it performs in soil types. Next, I look at each tire and give it a performance score in upright traction, fast turn grip, braking grip, predictability, and wear. For each evaluation section, there are the possibility of getting 4 stars or 4 icons. In this case, it's a wheelie icon. You can also get 0, and that just means it really is bad. Generally, 1 is poor, and 4 is, well, I can't imagine a better tire in these conditions or in this performance metric. If you get nothing, well, it's just terrible in that performance metric. At the end, I tally up the points and give my opinions. I will pick a winner, but ultimately, you get to decide what tire is right for you. Let's get started. Let's look at the IRC and Michelin tires. They both perform in very similar ways, as they are both soft terrain tires for motocross riding primarily. The Michelin Starcross 5 is an excellent tire. It shines in the sand and in the mud. Now let's look at the IRC VX30. It performs in a very similar manner to the Michelin, performing very well in sand and mud, suffering a little bit in hard pack, and suffering in some technical terrain, as it is really a moto tire. Due to its narrower width, it's maybe a little bit less stable than the Michelin, but that gives it a playful feeling. Let's tally up the scores for each tire. The Michelin gets a 17. It is a very good tire and does exactly what you expect. It's excellent in the sand, excellent in the mud, suffers in hardpack. The IRC does almost exactly the same. Gets a 17 with very similar characteristics with the exception of slightly more playful handling. Now let's look at the performance of each tire. The Michelin Starcross 5 is an excellent tire. It has acceptable upright grip. Remember, it's a Moto tire. It has very good fast turn grip, acceptable braking grip, is extremely predictable due to an excellent carcass, and wears very well compared to, say, a gummy tire. This is such a good tire, all around. Probably my favorite tire that isn't a gummy tire. The wear is exceptional, the performance is exceptional, and the feel that you get out of the carcass is really next level. Now let's look at the IRC VX30. Not surprisingly, it has about the same upright traction and about the same braking grip, but it does suffer in other areas. I would say the fast turn grip is not as good as the Michelin, maybe due to its narrower width. The predictability is definitely not as good as the Michelin. Again, I think it has to do with the superior carcass of the Michelin tire, and the wear is the same. I would say both these tires wear very well. Here's the thing about the IRC. It has a very playful feel to it. It's a fun tire to ride, and I enjoyed riding it. But honestly, switching back and forth with the Michelin just has a superior carcass that gives you more feedback on the grip of the tire relative to the ground, and also more feedback in turns. I would say the playfulness of the IRC just doesn't pay off for me. It's a fun tire to ride, and it's actually really good, but I just like the Michelin more. It's more stable at speed, it's more predictable, and it has more traction. Let's add up the performance scores. The Michelin Starcross 5 gets an exceptional score of 18. It has incredible fast turn grip and has incredible handling, which is extremely predictable due to its excellent carcass. The IRC VX30 gets a score of 16. It suffers slightly in fast turn grip, probably due to its narrower profile, and as well in predictability and handling. That narrow profile just doesn't stick to the earth the way the Michelin does. It still has excellent wear and pretty good upright traction. In summary, the Michelin Starcross 5 Soft is an exceptional tire. It has very good traction, wears very well, and has exceptional predictability. It has an exceptional carcass feel and lateral grip, and is a great all-around non-gummy tire. The IRC VX30 is a good tire. It gets a 33 out of 40 points. I would say it really shines in very loose soils or in deep sand. It has a very lively feel with fast and precise handling. This is probably its best characteristic. It has just good upright traction and decent turn traction. I would say this tire, if you put it on, you'd be very happy. But honestly, going back to back with the Michelin, it's just not as good as the Michelin. And you can only tell that once you go back to back testing in similar conditions on the same day. The winner of Tire Fight Episode 2 is the Michelin Starcross 5 Soft. This is such a killer moto or non-gummy tire. It has enough traction for almost any condition with the exception of extreme enduro, and just has incredible handling for an 18-inch tire.
So there you go, guys. Episode 2 is wrapped up, and for me, the winner is the Michelin Starcross 5 Soft over the IRC VX30. I wanted to maybe make some comments on the two tires that maybe aren't represented in the ratings that I gave them. So right away, I think the first thing you notice is that the Michelin is wider than the IRC. Now, again, I tested both 120 tires, but the Michelin is just physically a wider tire. I think that does a couple things for the Michelin. In my impression, that width gives you more traction, it gives you more upright traction, it gives you better traction in turns, it gives you more stability at speed. It's a moto tire, so generally you're riding faster in these tires. The IRC is narrower, so maybe it's a little bit more precise when you get in technical rocks, or maybe technical rocks. It's a little bit more playful, maybe a little bit more fun because it's maybe a little bit less stable, but it just doesn't, I think that benefit of playfulness, it doesn't make up for all the lack of traction and the lack of stability in turns. So I think the Michelin tire just has a superior carcass. I think there's probably more engineering in the Michelin tire at this point. I did like the IRC tire, and I would say that, you know, I had the luxury of having both of these tires, or each of these tires on different wheels, so I can swap back and forth. And I remember riding the IRC probably for 6 hours, and I was starting to really enjoy it. And then I went to the Michelin, and that's where it's really obvious to me, like when you go back to back, it's really obvious that really the Michelin is, at least for me, is a better tire. So the IRC is a great tire, but I feel like if you were to ride them back to back, you would see those subtleties and those differences. So for me, episode 2, the winner is a Michelin Starcross 5 Soft. That's it, guys. Till next time, we'll see you in episode 3. Thanks for watching.